Chapter 1 The Jack-o'-lantern Stairs. The Golden Mask was walking in a pine tree forest, but then he smelled something rotten. He looked up and saw a bunch of rotting corpses. He then saw a decayed woman in the distance, and then the woman turned to him and said, "I am the one God has sent to give you the task. And it is in a Halloween-themed amusement park of where the main seven you will be facing. His name is Jack of the Lantern, and you need to defeat him and send him back to hell. Over there is an elevator that will take you straight to his amusement park. This elevator I'm sure you have heard of. It can take you anywhere, and I mean anywhere. It is a supernatural one, I'm sure you've heard. Anyhow, in the amusement park you will meet my husband." The Golden Mask had just entered into the amusement park. It looked decayed and overrun by age. It was not what it used to be, but you could see jack-o'-lanterns all over the place and Halloween-themed decor, obviously. But a lot of it was now a swamp, weirdly. And then the Golden Mask's angel arrived by his side. And then she spoke and said, "So, you think you know it, don't you? You think you know how to stop them? You think you know how to stop them, don't you?" Then the Golden Mask then said, "To stop who?" Then the angel said, to stop the 5 main servants." Then the Golden Mask responded, "No, I've only just gotten here. I've never really planned this through. Anyhow, God told me he'd assigned you to me. So, what do you have to offer?" Then she took out a sword and gave it to him, the sword of his sister Hazley. So then the Golden Mask took the sword of his dearly departed sister, and so then he noticed something crawling around him. He then turned his head and saw a child in a vintage Halloween costume. In fact, several of them walking towards him and his angel. And so then the angel then... Sorry, I had a burp there. And anyhow, the angel then said, "I gave you the sword. Now you need to do the hard work. You need to kill those zombies." The Golden Mask then looked at the angel in confusion and looked closer to them and saw that they were bleeding and decayed. And so then the Golden Mask got his sword, and then one kid in particular that was in a dress and was obviously a girl, but had a pumpkin that she was wearing on her head, and there was blood dripping down from the carvings of the pumpkin. And then she then said, "Kill him! Kill him! Kill that angel too! Jack wants them dead!" And then the Golden Mask then began to cut down each and every one of them as they crawled and clawed at him. He was able to kill them. And then a huge animatronic busted its way out from the rubble. It seemed to be there for a long time because it was obviously broken. And then it started to say the words, Dr. Shatter now connecting to Robot Network. Who was this Dr. Shatter? But then a bunch of computer monitors that were placed around the park then turned on, and it was him. It was the speaker, an old friend of his sister Hazley. And then the speaker then said, "Why, hello there. I am the speaker, and I am here to help you and guide you through the amusement park. Anyhow, I'm here to guide you, actually through anywhere, really. Anyhow, so, there you seem to have a big old animatronic problem there. Well, luckily, Marissa's husband, who was the person you talked to in that forest, she's a ghost, and so is he. And guess what? I gave him directions straight to you. Yes, I have been watching you. So, bye now." And so then all the TV monitors turned off, and then, running from the shadows, a decayed corpse, obviously Marissa's husband, had then ran straight out of the darkness. And then he had a firework and had a lighter and lit it, and it launched straight at the animatronic, which then causing the firework to collide with the animatronic caused it to become damaged and broken. So then the Golden Mask decided to greet him, and so they had a friendly little conversation. It's not really important if you know what they're saying or not, so we're just going to move to the next part. They then were surrounded by a bunch of clown mannequins, too much to handle by yourself, and that was the decayed man's only thing that he had on him. And he also his name was Zombie. Sorry about that. Anyhow, as I was saying, they ran out of the amusement park, trying to at least find an outing in order for them to survive and come back another day stronger. But then a roller coaster had bulged its way out of the ground. And what bulged it out of the ground was a bunch of growing roots, and the seats to board it had popped out as well. And so then they opened, and then the Golden Mask and Zombie, along with the Angel, got on. And then it took them upwards into the ground, back into the amusement park, and into a little rainbow tunnel, which then collapsed almost instantly, causing the Golden Mask to wake up in a bunch of rubble, or shall I say, a puppet show of which in it was a bunch of puppets, or shall I say, dead corpses on strings. Then someone pulling those strings. We don't know what, but there was someone pulling them. And they began to sing songs that went like this. The growing roots, they watch you always. They see you and find you. Fear and death will come apart, and they will catch you no matter of the death that comes to await. Anyhow, so as the Golden Mask was listening to this in disgust, a crawling hand crawled up his leg, and he saw the hand clawing into him. He saw at the end of the fingers were tips of sharp metal, and he grabbed it and crunched it in his hand. And then he turned to see a bunch of black cats that began to grotesquely twist and turn into women in plague masks who were seemingly witches. And then the Golden Mask went on a murder spree throughout the entire amusement park, and then saw floating corpses with no limbs that were on fire. Those were the ghost lights. And so then he simply walked right by them, and then he was knocked out. Then he woke up within a little room with Jack the Lantern sitting at the far side of it. And so then the Golden Mask found himself tied up, but he ended up clawing his way out. And then he felt a burst of rage in him. He looked around, saw his angel tied up along with Zombie and Marissa. He then started to claw his way out of the ropes, and then Jack the Lantern then said, "Well, finally, we can finally play a game of violence." But the Golden Mask wasn't having anything, but Jack then lit the entire room on fire. And then the Golden Mask felt a rage, and they ended up fighting for this entire little time all night. Jack was slippery, but the Golden Mask was more slipperier. He then felt a burst of rage, the Golden Mask did, and then he started to gut Jack the Lantern. As a ghost, he couldn't die, but as what the Golden Mask was, he could still be able to interact with a ghost and make them feel pain. Then the Golden Mask then said, "I don't care where you came from. I just want you to die." Then he began to constantly throw him against the wall, saying the words, "Die, die, die," over and over again. It's seemingly as if Jack the Lantern might have been a monster, but the Golden Mask was the real monster. The Golden Mask then used one of his abilities, which is to open up a gateway to hell and throw a soul in. Then the Golden Mask grabbed Jack the Lantern by the neck and then threw him in the portal. And then the Golden Mask untied his angel, Marissa, and Zombie. And then he looked outside because he heard a thing. He heard something crawling out there. He looked outside of a window that was conveniently there, and saw all of Jack the Lantern's little servants being grabbed by growing roots that were dragging them into portals of hell that somehow made it there. It seemingly as if, due to their failure, they were being collected to be punished. The end. The Golden Mask, Season 1, The Growing Roots.